hot. Welcome back to Veteran Idiot. I'm Art. This is Scooter. We're out here on a closed course today for a 0 to 60 test. That's part of the camera crew. It's camera crew. We're gonna see what this guy can do for 0 to 60 before we swap him over to the big block. Without further ado, let's get at it. That's more camera crew. It's just part of the crew. All right, you ready, Scooter? Yeah, go for it. It's gonna be in 3, 2, 1. Come on! Did you even leave yet? All right, we're back in the garage with Earl here. That was some pretty fun stuff. As far as the 0 to 60 time, I'm gonna keep that one a secret for a little bit. I might let you know later on in this video, but until then, I want you to put down in the comments what you think this guy actually did for 0 to 60 with this 240 and our 3-speed with a granny transmission. It was not single digits, I'll tell you that much. Just a little hint. And I want to go ahead and say I'm sorry about not getting a video out to you guys last week. I was pretty under the weather. Ended up with some vertigo. I don't know if you've ever had vertigo before. It's not fun. I don't recommend it. Don't go do it. You'll be all right. So, it's time. It's not time to put this in. We're not putting this in yet because we got such good feedback on the last video on who we should take to the car show that we're taking both of them. We're gonna take Earl and we're gonna take Rusty. We're gonna trailer Rusty because he might disintegrate on the road on the way there. I think he'd probably make it, to be honest, but I really wanna drive Earl all the way there. It's about 2.5 hour drive to Tucson from where we're at right here. But that's doing 75. So I think I want to max him out at maybe 55, 60. He's kind of screaming at that point, as you'll remember from earlier today. But want to drive him out there. I think it's a good experience to drive to the car shows. So what we need to do is we got some things to do before we get to that point. One of those things is not taking on this project. I'm actually still waiting on the motor mounts from L&L. And they make those in-house here in USA, and it's in his garage, or it's not really a garage, but a shop, but it takes some time to get them done. And so we're waiting on those to show up, and then we'll be able to throw this bad dog in Earl here, but we're not gonna do that before Duct Tape Drags. So the things that we gotta do to make sure that this thing is gonna make it all the way to Tucson without any issues at all is I got a list here of things we gotta tackle today. It's gonna be a pretty simple day, but it's things we gotta do. So I gotta put in that temp gauge. I gotta know what our temperature is. We're gonna be driving in the middle of the day. It'd be a real surprise to have a hose explode or this thing seize up on the way there. So I've been alluding to putting in that temp gauge for a while now. We're gonna go ahead and throw it in today. Gotta check the trans oil. I've never checked the gear oil in there, so I need to see if it even has a full thing in there. That's my bad. But we gotta put in some gear oil, maybe even just drain it and put in a whole new thing of gear oil. It's probably been in there since the 50s or obviously 60s, but. And there's the fender bolt on this side is driving me absolutely nuts. It's halfway loose and it's seized in the clip and it's just sitting there rattling. And it's also out just a little bit to where the door hits it and it makes this loud clunk and wants to fold the fender. And so I really don't want to do that. And so we're going to go ahead and cut that bolt out, put in a new one. And then we need to adjust the brakes, get rid of that pole, that right pole when you step on the brakes, which is kind of a drum brake thing. You got to adjust each side until it's straight when you step on the brakes. It is what it is. And then I need to fix the steering wheel. It's kind of upside down right now. So we'll pull that off, flip it out, put it back the other way. And then we're going to take Rusty, we're going to drag him in here. And we're going to put the new steering wheel on, which I got up there with our new horn button. And I've got all the horn stuff over there, so maybe the horn will actually work. And then need to mess with the brakes a little bit and see if we can get it to stop in a reasonable amount of space instead of a quarter mile or more for a 10-mile-an-hour run. And that's about all we got going on for today, so we might as well get into it. Actually, before we get into it, got a little surprise coming up, and I think you guys will like it. I'm excited about these boxes right here. Let me tell you, this is gonna be good stuff. I'm not gonna show you what it is just yet. I'm gonna leave that as a surprise. It's gonna come up in a video, and we're gonna throw this stuff in, and really been looking forward to something like this pretty much the entire summer. So I'm excited about that. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into this. This Fender, driving me nuts. This thing, all the way down the highway, just click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. It's just seized in here and barely hanging on. And then when you go to open the door, it hits right there. I really don't want to bend this fender, so we're gonna go ahead and fix that, break out the Nagasaki disc real quick and cut that thing out. All right. Oh, let's see if we can get this thing out of here. Oh. It's time for your pause for safety. If you're grinding on something with a Nagasaki disc, there's a good chance it's going to come apart. Make sure you're wearing the proper safety equipment. Glad I was wearing these glasses. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, new bolt is screwed in. It's nice and tight. Let's see how the door clears. Oh yeah. Fender bolt done. All right, so the story with this temperature gauge. Hi, beautiful. All right, sorry about that. The story with this temperature gauge is the factory one inside doesn't work. I've changed the sensor out here and it doesn't do anything for it. Doesn't move, doesn't do anything. And I feel like the factory gauges in there are slow. They're not picking up that great, so maybe the cluster itself isn't in great shape. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in this temperature gauge here, which looks like all the others. It's just a tractor gauge and it matches the stuff inside. And I think that old style is really cool. So we're gonna go with this guy and it'll go right in place of this voltage. Well, it's an ampere meter, but it's going to go in place of that, and because we really don't need it. I mean, this truck is either charging or isn't. It's not that big of a deal if I don't know if it is or isn't. And then it'll go down and goes into where the temperature sensor is down in here. Not that big of a deal that this is all going to come out in a short time. It's real simple, just one, basically a temperature wire comes out of the firewall down here and into the spot. And then the other two wires go into the light that's already wired in for the ampere meter. So should be a pretty easy swap. I hope I don't lose a whole lot of coolant. I shouldn't. It should just be a quick exchange. I'm gonna wrap a bunch of tape around this once I get it swapped out in there. So you can just screw it right in and it shouldn't be a big deal. So let's go ahead and start yanking out the other meter inside. Now, as much as I like big projects where you're changing a whole bunch of stuff or changing the entire engine in and out, it's these little things where I'm just kind of refining the truck and, you know, polishing it off is really what I'm going for, and what I get the most satisfaction out of. I think just fixing the loose ends here and there really makes a big difference, more so than actually like swapping everything out. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a huge satisfaction to putting a giant engine into a truck that had a tiny little engine, and that's going to be real fun to do. But it's nice when the truck runs and moves and all you're doing is just fixing tiny little things, just making it just a little bit better. And like I said, I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. So this is kind of a cool little project for me. It's another step towards this truck. Every single little thing working perfectly. So really don't want to take this whole cluster out. Last time I took it out, some of the connections are just not that great, and so all the lights stopped working. So I don't want to do that again. Pop this light out. I think this is going to be a lay on my back project. Yay! Here we go. Oh, this is nice. Do you have the time to listen to me whine? Oh, hope that's nobody important out there. Bulb. Oh, it looks like two tiny little bolts. Pull them guys off. And actually, because it is an amp gauge, one of them runs up to the alternator, so I'm going to go ahead and go disconnect that wire real quick. That way when I disconnect this one, I don't weld something under the dash. Listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once. Alright, now that everything's disconnected, I won't weld anything under the dash. I should probably hook this trailer brake controller back up sometime. Looks like it's from 1942, but it probably still works. All right, this guy should just push out so we can slide in the new one. It's tight though, it is tight. It was a tight fit. All right, that one's out. Temp gauge. Now every time that I've actually gone and used the temperature gun to see what this truck is at in the middle of summer, like 120 degrees outside when I've driven it around, the very little I've driven it out when it's that hot, because it's kind of miserable. But anyways, every time I've done that, it's read 180 degrees. Like never changes. 180 degrees all the time. Now I'm a little scared to be switching to this big block, knowing that this engine in here just kind of clicks away without any issues at that temperature. But I think we'll be all right. Make sure it's straight. Shove it in there. Looks pretty straight. All right, let me show you what we're looking at here. So there's a new gauge. It matches the oil pressure over here. Let's get the rest of it hooked up. So on the back side of this gauge, there's not much to it. Just gets this little plate, 2 nuts and bolts. And that's about it. We'll see what we're gonna do about running a ground. Really shouldn't need to. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. Okay. Let's hook her up. Going down, down, baby, up street in a Range Rover, sweet sleeper, baby. Woo, I'm about to let it go. I don't know why I put this off so long. This really is just an easy swap out. I think maybe 10 minutes at the most. You already got the hole cut in here, it just drops right in. Some things you don't want to do. All right. Put this bulb back up in here and see what we got. Oh yeah, yeah. I am significantly sad that this is green. Not super excited about that. That is a bummer. Yeah, see? Yellowish, green. Sad face. Sad face. Oh well. Okay, now we can run all this business back up through there. All right, so after fighting that one for 4.5 days, got it through the firewall. It was just a matter of moving the speedo cable over so I could actually get it through. Now it's time to pull this guy out. First, we're gonna throw some thread sealant on this. And hopefully I didn't screw up the threads too much, and then we can screw that in.
Ooh, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. Man.
All right, we're all hooked up over here. Now let's see if we fire up and see if we start getting a temperature reading. All right, we'll give that a minute to, ooh, it's hot. Give that a minute to warm up and we'll get back at it. All right, so we're all warmed up here. Look at that. Good to go. That's some good stuff right there. Still sad, not the same color. Oh well, can't win them all. Still glad to be able to see what the temperature is. So out here in Arizona, you need to know what the temperature is. Okay, so now that that gauge is fixed, it's time to pull the steering wheel. That was right about there. Gotta have a special kit. Ask me how I know. I went through 2 of them. All right. There's 1 nut in the center, and then there's 2 on either side, and then you got the driver. Just make sure you got the right pitch and bolts for the actual nuts that go into the steering wheel, and then this sucker will come right off. Pulling the bolts and the nut off the steering wheel. It's 16ths. For those who are wondering, it's on there. Okay, let's get these here bolts. Too small. Let's try this guy. Just right. I'm gonna run these bolts in just a little bit further. Feels like it only caught just a couple threads, so I want to make sure we're good to go. There we go. That's it. This is 3/4, and just pop right off. Yeah. Made a little bit of a mark for myself. All right, let's throw this bolt or nut back on. Bam, steering wheel more straighter. I don't know why the horn don't work. Don't make no good sense. Maybe it's disconnected somewhere up there. No. More straighter. All right, next. All right, so we're moving right along here. Go ahead and mark some stuff off. Temp gauge, done. And rotate steering wheel, done. So all we got left is to adjust the brakes. I'm gonna knock that out real quick, and then we'll see where we're at with the level on the trans. While I'm under there, we'll see if that needs to be addressed or not. Ooh, Midnight Rider. All right, friends. Brakes are adjusted. I won't know if I fix the pull or not until I take it out and drive it. Pulled the cap on the transmission, and I can't feel it with my fingers, so she's definitely low. So I'm gonna go ahead and go get some gear oil And I'll also get some diff oil for the back as well. And we'll just go ahead and drain that one out, change the cover, take a look at the teeth and everything else. And then we'll drain the transmission and fill that one back up with some fresh gear oil. And we will do that tomorrow, as it's already dark outside. I'm gonna eat some dinner and we'll come back at it in the morning. I love you. Good truck. Ooh, my phone. Good afternoon. It's the next day. This morning, went to the store, got the stuff I needed, the oil, changed out the oil in the transmission, and pulled the fill hole plug out of the diff cover in this diff, and stuck my finger down in there. The oil looks pretty clean and it's appropriate level, so I just left it alone. And that means this guy is ready to go. One last thing, actually. Yeah, let's throw this guy on, and it'll officially be ready to go. That's gonna look pretty. Honey, I'm home and I've had a hard day. Oh yeah. Now she's ready for the trip. So, went out to work on Rusty this morning as well. Wouldn't you know it, it's got the wrong steering wheel puller again. It takes these itty bitty tiny little screws for the square body style steering wheel. So I'll go and find another one, see if I can't get that, and I'll take care of that before the Duct Tape Drags. Which reminds me, Duct Tape Drags coming up in a little over a week, 29th and 30th, Friday and Saturday of September. This upcoming next Friday and Saturday. Yep. And we're gonna be out at the car show. We'll have our banners up. We'll have Earl and Rusty out there. Earl's gonna make the trip, drive the whole way. Rusty's gonna get trailered. Maybe we'll drive it, I don't know. We'll decide, we'll make a game day decision that morning. But for now, the plan is Earl's gonna drive, Rusty's on the trailer. Can't wait to see you guys out there. I think it's gonna be a blast. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode. Bet you thought I wasn't gonna tell you what the quarter-mile time was. Well, let's play a little game. So it ended up being a flat number, 2 digits. So was it 16 seconds, 38 seconds, 24 seconds, or 32 seconds? What do you think? 16, 38, 24, 32. What's your best guess? If you guessed 38 seconds, you were dead on. 38 seconds, 0 to 60. That is astounding. I mean, when I was done, hands were shaking. It was quite the adrenaline rush. I had plenty of time to think about the entire acceleration. But yeah, 38 seconds for this bad dog, the 240 inline 6. We'll take that number, we'll compare it to this big block. Like I said, this thing isn't gonna be a race car, but there's gotta be some improvement with that thing over there. And also the app said that it had a maximum estimated horsepower of 40. That's 40. 40 horsepower, 40 horsepower. It's enough to get the job done. This thing hauls hay all the time and trash and everything else. So, but that's gonna do it. Thanks for sticking around for the entire episode to find out that quarter-mile time. If you skipped from the beginning to the end, I don't like you very much. No, I still do. Thanks for watching. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that super thanks button if you enjoyed the show. Yeah, no. Or, yes, over here, down at the bottom. Super thanks. Really helps out, helps us get some projects going, and helps us keep the show rolling. Again, we'll see you out there at Duct Tape Drags if you're going. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. And as always, have fun.